Today's Face-Off on Fox Soul. Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams. Ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-Off on Fox Soul starts right now. Up first, hip-hop hoes, the cheeks out, and the clothes hanging on for dear life. The controversy surrounding hip-hop artists of today. Here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
You know, Quanell, the cheeks are out. Ice Spice had looks like about 2/3 of her booty hanging down. And I think we're both friends with him. Houston hip-hop legend of the Ghetto Boys, Willie D, tweeted or posted on Instagram, female hip-hop pioneer and first female rapper to be signed to Def Jam, Nikki D, got something to say about the state of female rap today, and it ain't friendly. What do y'all think? And that quote was, "Oh, come TF on. You mean to tell me this is true talent? The female genre of hip-hop today is the prostitution era. Fight me." Notice the only 2 times the crowd reacts during the familiar munch line, and that's when she turns around to show her ass. She's one of the top female rappers out at the moment. Where's her show, production, rehearsal? God's sake, please stop. You know, I will tell you, I was a bit shocked when I heard the first time, but you know, my, what is it, Voodoo Hell Brown, my Coochie Pink, I don't even know. I think that as a 51-year-old guy, I found it to be a little bit shocking. It's not rap that I grew up on, right, which was both East and West Coast 80s and 90s hip hop. But I think it's hard for people, you know, Willie's our age too, or Nikki D, also our age, to consume media that kids today are consuming. And when to not sound like the same people that were condemning hippies for having long hair and condemning young black men to having huge afros in the 70s and 80s. I think it's absurd for us to criticize how she makes her art. And I think calling her a prostitute just goes way too damn far.
You know, Charles, let me say this, that Brother Will is making a valid point about the state of hip hop, and everything that sister said with Def Jam was telling the truth, that this appears to be and seems to be the prostitution era of hip hop. When you look at some of the biggest female hip hop icons are really not known for their musical genius or musical talent. They're more known for how sexually over the top and sexually provocative they can be, entertaining their audiences. When you see our sister Cardi B, when you see our sister right from Houston, Megan Thee Stallion, they're really not known for the genius of the tone of their voice, the singing eloquence of their gift of talent from them, the vocal cords from the depths of their sternum, singing a great song. They're known for how they dress, how they carry themselves, and making songs like WAP, Wet, Pussy. And what Will also has to realize, that Brother Will, our generation is responsible for this, Charles, because we saw it on the rise and budging its head against the rise of the mind of young women during our generation in the 90s. Remember the rap groups, Bitches with Problems? Remember the rap group, Hoes with an Attitude? That was back in the 90s. So what we're doing is looking at young women in 2023 and saying, oh my God, it's a prostitution era, but the hoe and bitch era started in our generation in the 90s. So when we throw the stone and hit them, we cannot hide the hand, hit them with the rock, and then blame this generation of kids for the crime. This has been going on in America, but now the loss of the moral sense of shame is at such magnitude with social media, we've never had it put before us like it is right now.
I think it's absurd for you to talk about the prostitution era and mention some great female performers in an attempt to suggest that they don't have any skill or talent other than being prostitutes, all right? You don't seem to have the same energy for the empty masquerade-wearing male hip-hop artists who, as you know, Michael Irvin's son got called out by the great Cowboys receiver for trying to act all hard, yet grew up in a gated neighborhood in Dallas and with abject wealth. We have plenty of rappers, I think we know some of them, that pretend that they live a life that's absolutely divorced from the life they lead, but it seems like only people have the energy for condemning the women. And when you talk about Cardi, when you talk about Nicki, when you talk about Ice, when you talk about any of these performers, right? Yeah, I found WAP to be a little profane. I most certainly found Foxy Reds, Sexy Reds. I mean, it's very overt. But women are selling records unlike any other time in the hip-hop era. When you had a few standouts, you had Salt and Pepper in the 80s.
What method are they using to sell these records?
They're using their music and their mechanism to make millions of dollars. You know, Sexy Red, there was a wonderful interview with her when she was talking about the poverty she grew up in, and she finally had a stepdad, and they had a little bit better life, and then he was murdered by a friend. And someone asked her, and I forget which podcast, but asked her, well, you know, how's your mom now? Because she spoke about all her mother's struggles. And he said, well, my mom works for me now. She lives with me in my mansion in Miami. And so for Sexy Red to take her life and change not just her circumstance, she had a child at a very young age circumstance, she changed her mom's circumstance through her hip hop. I don't give a damn
Charles,
how she did it.
let me say this to you.
And you don't care when men are talking about shooting people and banging hoes and doing whatever, but women do it, oh my God.
Let me say this, Charles. When men do that, they're wrong for doing it.
You don't ever say that.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that wherever you see a no good woman, she was made that way by a no good man. But also the book of Proverbs teaches us that there's no riches on the earth or in the earth or in the heavens above that can be compared unto a righteous, virtuous woman. Satan knows if you want to destroy a nation, attack the women. If you want to bring down future generations, destroy the mind of the women. Satan's ultimate desire is to attack and destroy our women. Why? Because the first teacher of the children about who God is not a man. It's the mother that gives birth to those children. No nation can rise any higher than its women. We as men must begin to protect and preserve our young girls and our women. And remember, God never said there's a virtuous man. God never said how sacred man is. And even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, when they asked him who's honored first in the home, the father, he said no, the mother. They said the second time, they say who, the father, he said no, the mother. After the fourth time, he said now you can honor your father, because the woman is sacred and she is the righteous vessel that gives birth to all future generations.
So you talk about having this energy for men that are overtly sexual, for men that are overtly violent in any type of music. Let's not limit it to hip hop. Okay, but you most certainly don't have the same energy, right? It sounds like you want these female hip-hop performers to get out there in a burqa or a headscarf or whatever, and somehow they have to be held to a religion that they certainly must not believe in, because they're not running around like that. And they are doing what they have to do to achieve their own goals. And if it's having booty shorts on is what allows Ice Spice to that, because let me tell you something, there are plenty of women that are stripping and they're not making that much damn money. There's plenty of women that are on OnlyFans not making any money, right? It's undeniable, and it's profane for you to suggest it. It is undeniable that Cardi B, you always love to say sister, but it's Houston's sister, Megan Thee Stallion, and a number of female hip-hop artists, starting with the tidal wave started by Nicki Minaj, are selling millions, are getting hundreds of millions of downloads, if not billions of downloads, and their income is rivaling that of the men, of Drake and other hip-hop superstars of the day. And if their sexuality is a part of that, then I applaud them. Good for them. Good for them making money. The fact that Sexy Red has her mom, who grew up in absolute abject poverty until she got a job, or she got remarried, then that man was murdered, and instead, Sexy Red is making this music, and it's horribly profane music. She has changed her mom's life.
I'm going to say this to our sister Sexy Red, Sister Megan Thee Stallion, Sister Cardi B, are beautiful. Ice Spice, you're beautiful, sister.
But just not talented?
You're gorgeous. Mr. White Man, be quiet for a second.
No.
You're a beautiful sister.
You can tell Mr. Adams to be quiet. You're going to tell the white man to be quiet.
Your talent is on loan from God. But what good does it do to profit the whole world and lose your soul? Don't let these devils trick you into losing your soul for $1.
Could you imagine if I said, hey, Mr. Black Man, be quiet?
You can. I am a black man.
Okay, but that would be horrifying.
Not to me, it ain't. I am a black man.
But the media, you shouldn't use racialized language to shut people up.
You are a big white guy.
But at the end of the day, these women are all phenomenally talented, and you're just looking for a reason to condemn them.
And you want them to sell and shake their backsides for $1.
I want them to do whatever the hell they want to do.
Dehumanize themselves for $1.
I want them to do whatever the hell they want to do, just like I want men to be able to.
Lose their soul for $1.
Good for you, Ice Spice.
I know you think that for sure.
Up next, backlash over Saucy Santana's sassy statement.
TGIF. Jason Derulo is speaking out against sexual harassment claims.
I sit here before you deeply offended.
Live and interactive.
I agree with Miss Hollywood in the chat. She says he's reading a teleprompter.
Listen, I know bad acting when I see it because I've done it. I'm deeply offended.
I'm going to give you Angela Bassett deeply offended. And I'm deeply offended.
Oh.
Come on, Oscar.
And I'm deeply offended.
Guilty.
On Fox Soul.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
In round two, beef between LGBTQ+ artist Saucy Santana and DJ Academics. After DJ Academics came for Saucy Santana's friend, and it ended with Saucy Santana making sexual threats. Up next, here's Quanell X.
Charles, I read some of the statements of Saucy Santana, and I also read what DJ Academics had some things to say about one of Mr. Santana or Mrs. Santana's friend. I think it was horrible, Mr. Santana or Mrs. Santana, whatever he calls himself, his response about, meet up and I will beat your ass, and then I'll beat you and I'll F you in your rectum. Now, that's advocating absolute rape and sexual violence. That's advocating male-on-male sexual rape and violence. I would think that members of the LGBT community would speak out against Mr. Santana and condemn this, because if the roles were reversed and there was a man talking about pulling up on a gay man, beating him up and then raping him anally, well, then I believe that people would be demanding for that man to be terminated, to be counseled, to possibly be punished. But nobody's saying anything from the LGBT community about this man advocating sexual violence, and I think it's hypocrisy.
I think there's plenty of people in the LGBT community that are horrified by, and I'll be honest, I don't have no damn idea who Saucy Santana is, or the young lady at the heart of the controversy, is it Young Miami? I didn't, I'm old, right? I don't have. And when you keep referring to Saucy Santana as a he or a she, it's very clear that he presents as a male, but just wears makeup and has long nails. But I don't care. I don't care how he's gendered. I don't care about any of it. I think there are plenty of people that are horrified by the language, including people vocally so in the LGBT community. And you just see this as another reason to condemn the LGBT community when we should just simply be condemning Saucy Santana for saying that he was going to beat someone up and rape them, whether the victim of that beating and rape were male or female. And I'm always shocked by your energy to condemn gay people when you should just have the energy to condemn bad people, right? Violent people, threatening people, right? But also, I don't ever see you or hear you in our meetings off camera wanting to talk about it when heterosexual male rappers, like you with this show tonight, you're condemning female rappers who dress provocatively, and you're condemning a gay rapper for having some thuggish comments that also involve homosexuality. The question is, why don't you care when it's just men?
So I want to say, Charles, that it's amazing, but it's not shocking to me how members of the Eurocentric community, such as yourself, would listen to the words of a black man and twist it and turn it.
Sticking up for black women, that bad Whitey.
Excuse me, Mr. Klan member, I didn't cut you off.
The Klan member.
I didn't let you.
Well, you know what? I didn't call you names.
I'm calling what you are.
Okay.
Now,
I'm in the Klan now?
my issue is
hold on.
gentleman.
I'm in the Klan now?
You know you're a grand dragon. Listen, this man, Mr. Santana.
I got a dragon for you,
Mr.
but
Santana,
I'm not a grand dragon.
No, you got a dragon for Mr. Santana.
You
got a dragon, Mr. Santana.
Me a Klansman
but
to
back
avoid
to what
the
I was
fact
saying,
that you're a
you won't let me
damn
finish.
homophobe.
You won't let me finish.
Go spew some more hatred.
The word homophobia means a fear of.
You don't have to
I have
learn
no
me.
fear. I have no fear of gay people.
You just hate them.
I have no fear of gay people.
You just hate
and
them.
I don't hate.
Well, then
because my
you
teacher.
call them a bunch of names.
Can I finish, Mr. White Guy?
Okay.
My teacher. Show me the same courtesy I showed you.
You didn't. You're
my
calling
teacher,
me a
the
bunch
most
of
honorable
slurs.
Elijah Muhammad, said that hate is too consuming. Hate consumes the hater as well as the hated. What I hate is that members of the LGBT community know what this man said was wrong, know what Santana said is evil, and they are not collectively using the same energy to condemn him if the roles were reversed with a heterosexual man saying that about a member of the gay community. I have a problem with those in hip hop who wish to sell their souls for $1. Because you're selling your soul on earth, man, for $1 that won't get you into the kingdom, and hell is real. Charles, America is going to hell right now with our eyes wide open. We have to do something about the violence in this country, but this is sexual violence that Mr. Santana was advocating. He needs to be chastised, corrected, and he should publicly apologize to Mr. Academics. And I'm going to be honest with you. If Mr. Santana really feel that way, well, then why don't you meet up with DJ Academics and then let your fist show if your mouth can equal what you do squared up.
We know that this era in American and in world history is defined by the Twitter fingers of people that don't actually want that action, right? So there's no doubt that Saucy Santana meant none of that. But again, instead of, now you're finally appropriately condemning Saucy Santana, what a silly sounding name, for his ugly comments directed at DJ Academics, but it took you a long time of condemning gay people, and it seems like you always think...
That's because you kept interrupting me.
It seems like you always have the energy to tell women or to tell gays or to tell Jews whatever they should do, but you never have the same energy for Palestinians condemning Hamas, for black people condemning other black people when they do horrible things. And the truth is, I disagree with it all. I don't think black people have an obligation to condemn black people that do bad things. I don't think white people have a collective obligation to condemn white people. I think good people of any complexion should want to and should absolutely condemn bad people, but we don't need to use isms and groups. And you just look for any reason to be a
isms in America were not started by black people.
Gay hater.
The isms in America didn't come from us.
On this show, it was started by you.
We are the victims of the isms.
Okay, but here,
Charles,
where you're calling me all kind of, you called me a Klansman, you called me all kind of racial slurs constantly.
On this show, I try to make you comfortable.
I know, what you don't want to do
on this show,
is you don't want to talk about here and now. You just want to be
free to breathe.
Okay.
And be who you are.
Now, what you want to do is
and if you pull out the hood, I'm not going to topics. I'm not going to attack you.
By saying bigoted and horrible things, right?
Look,
that's
man, this man was wrong.
Damn day.
This guy was wrong.
No one disagrees. This guy's wrong.
Where's the same outcry against him? A member of the gay community advocating sexual or violent rape against a non-gay person. Where's the outcry? I don't see it. I haven't heard about it.
They were literally talking about it on the Breakfast Club last week.
Where is the outcry from the gay community against this?
Well, you know what? Maybe you're not looking at the gay community.
No, because it's really not there with the same energy. That same energy is not there if the roles are reversed.
Okay, again, you know, earlier in the week we talked about them suing Meta. We need to get back to the era of personal responsibility. Instead of blaming corporations, instead of blaming communities, because I'll tell you, white people that blame black people for the higher rates of crime of black criminals,
and they produce them criminals.
Those are called racist.
Because them criminals come from the ghetto.
You interrupted me. Those are called racist, right? And when you hate all gay people and you condemn gay people because one gay guy said some horrible stuff, that's bigotry. And instead of looking at everybody through the prism of immutable characteristics, whether it's white, black, Latin, gay, straight, whatever,
you never defend straight men like that.
We should look.
You never defend straight men like that.
You don't ever attack straight men.
You never defend heterosexual straight men like that. You don't advocate for the straight man.
The truth is,
you abandon us. You've let us go.
The truth is,
walked away from us.
Individuals are responsible for their individual actions.
Up next, police investigate the death of a hockey player.
What a disaster.
You're a disaster. This is a disaster.
You can't be ready for every little disaster, but you can prepare for a big one. Make an emergency plan today.
Welcome inside the black box.
So you guys ready to have some fun?
Forget the acting studio. I'm here with you guys.
Creativity will find its way. It doesn't matter what the ethnicity is.
Television and movies are the mediums of stereotypes.
Just because we all have the same color don't mean we have the same experience.
Your uniqueness is your greatness.
Welcome inside the black box.
Every Monday on Fox Soul. TGIF.
Lil Wayne was not pleased with the reveal of his wax figure. He tweeted, "Sorry, Wax Museum, but that bleep ain't me."
Live and interactive.
Brittany T said, "That ain't Lil Weezy, that's Lil Asthma."
Hold on, caller. You got to see what Poppy said. Hell, the wax figure looks cleaner and better than the real Lil Wayne.
Serving up all the tea.
You so messy, Q. You are.
Join the chat on Fox Soul.
Yeah, I don't make the comments. I just read them, honey.
Oh, God.
What do you think the most bougie state in the United States is?
This is black bougie or white bougie? There's a difference.
McMillan and Morrow.
I'm not black bougie. I'm trying to be.
You just bougie.
I'm just too poor.
Every Thursday.
Listen, if I had more money, I would be so bougie.
You black bougie adjacent. All your friends are black bougie.
Exactly.
On Fox Soul.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm living vicariously through them.
In our main event, a hockey player killed while playing the sport after a freak accident. Should the investigation happen? Here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
So Cornell, what we had happen in the United Kingdom, right? You had a team playing, two teams playing professional hockey game, and one of them, a former NHL player, a white man, was killed when another player, Matt Petgrave, an African Canadian, a black man from Canada, reached up and kicked him in the throat with his razor-sharp ice hockey blade. And what I think makes this worth talking about, right, is if you watch the video, it's very clear that Mr. Petgrave intended to kick his opponent with the blade. The question is whether or not he intended to kick him in the throat, and I don't think that he did. I think clearly he was just playing. He's known for being very physically aggressive, and there was some, seems like bad blood between the two. But I don't think there's any chance that Matt Petgrave thought he would slice his throat, and it was horrifying. He bled to death right there on the ice. They cleared everybody out. I would not suggest the viewers to watch the video, but if you have some morbid curiosity, you can. But when we look at the conversations on Twitter, when we look at the conversations on Instagram, it seems to be two very distinct camps, that you have white people demanding that Mr. Petgrave is arrested for murder or manslaughter. And I do think that if it was in America, manslaughter would be the appropriate charge. You have someone engaging in an action that they knew or should have known could cause serious injury or death. But I don't think it should be murder, right? I think it should be manslaughter. I don't think there's any chance that young Mr. Petgrave was trying to kill his opponent. Right, so the question is, and then you have a lot of black Americans who are taking the issue, oh, this was not at all on purpose, it was an accident. And of course the media, because our media always picks a side, is calling it an accident, although the police said they are investigating, they're calling it a freak accident. But when you pick up your leg and you high kick someone in the throat and they die from it, there's some culpability. And what I hate is if the roles were reversed. What I hate about America today, if it was a white man that kicked a black man in the throat and killed him, we would have a completely different, everyone would switch sides. Instead of just having a conversation and ignoring the silliness of complexion and focusing on the actions. And if you watch this video, it's very clear he behaved inappropriately, and it appears intentionally.
Charles, I don't think this gentleman, the African American, should be charged with a crime
Why
at
not?
all. But let me first extend my condolences to Mr. Johnson's family. This was a horrible tragedy that you have to now suffer and carry for the rest of your life, losing your loved one in such a public arena for people to watch over and over again. This is a tragedy, man. It's awful. But I don't believe this African Canadian brother should be charged with anything, because this Mr. Johnson is not the first hockey player to die on the ice, sustaining an injury on the ice from being assaulted. Also, it angers me that we watch hockey players for generations beat the hell out of each other on the ice. The white guys knock each other's teeth, break each other's bones, fracture each other's eyes, give each other concussions in fist fights, and nobody's ever charged or indicted for anything. But the minute that a black hockey player, and it ain't very many black hockey players, the minute a black hockey player harms a white guy and he's severely injured to the point of death, now they want to call for murder charges. Well, where was this same energy when we watch white guys at hockey games night after night after night around the world beat the hell out of each other, knock out each other's teeth, give each other concussions, break each other's noses, rupture each other's eardrums, and kick each other with their slicing skates also? They never call for any police involvement.
Because the difference here, he literally karate kicked him in the throat with the blade of the ice skate and cut his throat, and he bled to death almost immediately, right? This is a different issue, and then you exemplify the problem. Everyone's looking at this through the prism of race instead of just saying, hey, in your argument, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't watch this video where a guy lifts up his leg and kicks a guy in the throat. There's no other, if you've ice skated at all, there's no other reason to do that, right, other than commit to injure the guy. Do I think he intended to kill him? No. But the real problem in the discourse, because you see a great number of people of color and the media all taking this as a freak accident. Oh, poor Matt Petgrave. Oh, he's being harassed online. He actually killed a man. Who we should be feeling sorry for is Adam Johnson's fiance and the remainder of his family that have lost this loved one because someone did something horrifyingly inappropriate and absolutely criminal on the ice. And I would say this would be my position if Mr. Petgrave was white or Mr. Petgrave's black or Mr. Johnson's white or Mr. Johnson's black. But the truth is, we all know that your position is contingent and defined solely upon the race of the actors.
No, it's based on the fact
we see this
that I laid out. We watch white guys for generations. Night after night, beat the hell out of each other, assault each other.
That's not cutting their throat.
Each other with their skates.
Kicking someone in the throat
from being sliced.
Cutting their
but we
throat
watch these
and
assaults,
killing them.
and we watch them use their damn hockey sticks and beat each other with hockey sticks and cut each other open.
First of all,
nobody goes to jail.
We have seen people charged
Police
for
are not involved
with hockey sticks, right? You're not allowed to beat them with the hockey sticks.
Ain't nobody going to jail for it.
This is a crime.
The white guys are going to jail for it.
They absolutely should be prosecuted.
No, prosecute everybody the same.
If the races were reversed, you'd be screaming the opposite.
Prosecute everybody the same.
I don't disagree. Next person that intentionally cuts somebody's throat, he should get prosecuted.
Prosecute them the same. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start where I left off. Since I was a young boy, and I'm in my 50s, early 50s, very low, early 50s. But we watch hockey players beat each other with their sticks, with their skates, knock out each other's teeth, blood everywhere. People knocked unconscious, taken to hospitals and comas, but nobody ever see a police involvement, put them in jail. But a black guy does it now, and the man dies that's white. All of a sudden, the white people are calling for him to be prosecuted and tried. I also just want to say this, that we've talked about a lot of subjects tonight, but one thing we have to do is be willing to talk and discuss these subjects openly. We can disagree, but we don't have to be physically or directly disagreeable with one another. I admire the fact that this man and I can sit across from each other with night and day views, but yet we respect each other and we will always allow each other to be who we are. I want to see more of that in America. Let people speak their minds without condemning them, and let people be who they are, and let's respect them for who they are.
Yeah, I'm trying not to laugh, America. He literally just a few minutes ago called me a grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, and now he's claiming he doesn't want to be disagreeable. I think the Adam Johnson death is a perfect microcosm of the problem about discourse in America, that many people are deciding their feelings, and white people and black people are deciding how they feel about a situation based solely upon the complexion of the actors in the situation, instead of viewing it through the prism of, well, this guy did this thing, I don't care what race or ethnicity they are. I have a real problem with the comments that Quanell had for black women who are out there breaking barriers with their openly sexual hip-hop style. In fact, these are women, when we saw, he said early 50s, we're the same age, he's 51. You know, it was a big deal that MC Lyte, it was a big deal that Salt and Pepper were actually making songs that charted because they didn't play female hip-hop, right? In the 90s, you had a few, But these women are breaking barriers, especially Megan here from Houston. I applaud you all.